Warning, this video contains flashing images. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing amazing. Anyway, we are back with some more Reddit true scary stories. Are they real? Are they not real? Choice is up to you, my friends. Anyway, without further much ado, I think it's time we should possibly get on with the stories. Thank you all for being here. I shall scare you later. True Ghost Story by Cash Money Godzilla from the True Horror Stories Reddit. A lot of weird paranormal things happened to me and my mom's side of the family, but this is the only time I saw a ghost. So when I was about 4 or 5, I slept in a pretty tall bunk bed with my brother. We always kept the door open when we were sleeping just in case something happened, so my parents can hear us. Guess it came in handy this time. For some weird reason, I always wake up in the middle of the night, the time when it's pitch black. This time when I woke up, it didn't feel right, so I made the worst mistake in my life. I looked out of the covers. To clarify, I sleep in the top bunk, which is about 7 feet tall. When I looked out the covers, I saw a man, but he looked very wrong. He was glowing green and kind of blurry, and he was also wearing some Victorian era type clothing. And he was either floating or was like 10 feet tall. This man was staring straight into my soul. I screamed so loud it woke my parents and my brother. As soon as my parents walked in, the guy just faded away in front of my eyes. They told me it was a nightmare and to go back to sleep. To this day, I still wake up when it's pitch black. But now I just try to go back to sleep, and I will never open my eyes. Weird crap still happens to me. Sometimes weird, sometimes cool. But I have many more unexplainable stuff, so comment if you want to hear more. If you have any ghost videos you would like me to react to, why not send them to my email address? Thank you very much. Something's in the woods and we don't know what to do about it. Story by Lemon the Kitsune. So let me explain the title. I live in a small town surrounded by thick woods, and there's a few other towns nearby. When my mother and I had first moved here, I had decided to go explore the woods. As I was walking, I found a bunch of huts made out of sticks. Then I walked to a river and heard heavy breathing behind me. But when I turned around, no one was there. I decided it was best to go get out of there quickly as possible. A few weeks ago, when I went back to the same area of woods, and I saw a shadow of someone behind me and heard footsteps. Not sure if it was an actual person, but I ran out of there, not wanting to find out. Recently, my girlfriend had a dream that she was in her kitchen and looking out the window. There was a creature who looked like it was rotting. His joints were all backwards and he looked humanoid and part goat according to her. It looked at her and made a strange scream. She then woke up. The next day, she was having a conversation with her little sister when she heard a voice outside. She paused in the middle of her sentence and freaked out when she heard a scream similar to the one in her dream. I've been hearing knocking at my window and I am not too happy about it. I set up bowls of salt in my room, cleansed the bells and rose petals, and more. I'm just terrified of whatever it is getting in.
Thank you for the great support, I really do appreciate it. If you are enjoying what I'm doing, why not think about subscribing to my channel? It is free and would help me a great deal.
Exorcism at Our House. Story by Deleted. This isn't like any of the ones you watch on the films. This happened when I was 11 or 12. Little background story, I am from the Philippines. I have 3 sisters and I am the youngest. This is from our first ever house. My mum bought this land and had this 2-story house built. We had space outside for a little garden where we hang our clothes to dry and for us kids to play. We also have a mango tree and another tree which the village captain had asked his men to chop off. I forgot why, I was very young when this happened. All I remember was my sisters and I were crying because it was our tree. I think it was because the tree was almost going over the road and it wasn't good because the electric line's up there and there is an electric post literally next to our house. I know I've always been scared of our home and of the dark. I wouldn't be able to sleep on my own if all the lights were off. I was also scared of the shower and the toilet. I didn't know why, I just felt spooked, as if I wasn't alone when I was having a shower. One other thing that scared me was my mum and dad's big wedding canvas, painted and hanging on their living room. I felt like the eyes were on me at all times. We used to go to church all the time. Every Sunday without fail, we go to our Baptist church. Before I turned 11, my mum decided to throw a big party for me. We rented a McDonald's venue and planned everything. I had my gown made, my neighbours were invited, my church mates were invited, some schoolmates were invited. My birthday falls in summer vacation, so not a lot knows about it. Ha ha. I was having a fever days before my birthday. My mum was keeping an eye on me. That night I had a very weird dream. I still remember it to this day. I was a nurse. I was wearing a nurse's outfit and I had a clipboard on my hand. I was walking on this place like a corridor in a hospital, and I noticed this guy was standing there. He had very dark eyes, almost animated. He smiled and his smile scared me. He had large pointed teeth. My first thought as a nurse was, he's not a patient here. Who is he? I got scared and started to run away. He chased after me. I was running and I tripped. He then held both my hands and pinned me down. Then my mother woke me up. She said I was crying, thrashing and kicking my feet. My temperature was so high, she had to force me up to give me a cold bath. I was crying from my scary dream. Mid-bath, she kept asking me why I was crying. She was telling me to relax. I didn't even notice it, but my hands were formed like a claw. I couldn't do anything. It was so stiff, I couldn't move. All I could do was cry. After the bath, I calmed down and told my mother about the scary dream. She kissed my forehead and prayed with me. I was able to sleep again after that. After my birthday, my mother told a friend about what happened to me. She then said there was a pastor who helped cast the ghost away from your home, and my mum already knew the pastor. They had a chat and the pastor said yes, they'll come over to the house. Okay, I'm actually getting scared just remembering this. We all had to be present for the exorcism to be done. It wasn't like in the movies. It was chilling though. The pastor arrived with his wife and 2 other people, 1 man and 1 woman. The pastor explained that we all had to be strong because if we are scared, the devil will exploit that feeling. He said that the lady is a seer. She can see spirits, but it's a different form of seeing spirits. She had to close her eyes and her soul leaves her body to roam around the place and locate the spirits. The pastor found her homeless and was being called crazy outside the church. She said the devil liked to be worshipped, so all the statues that people pray to, they hid in there and pretend they are the ones being worshipped. She said if her spirit leaves her body, she can see herself sitting over there. A man's ability in his body can be overtaken by another soul, and whoever takes over can speak up. The pastor found him inside the church. He couldn't control his body being taken over at the time, and apparently sometimes for 3 days, other souls would stay in his body. He stayed in the church because most of the spirits would rather be worshipped in a statue than control his body. He said when he would be taken over, his spirit would just be next to his body, so he could see himself beside him. He said his voice would never change tone if he'd ever taken over. Just his natural voice. The pastor assured us that they are now Christian and found their purpose in life. He helped the pastor drive evil spirits away, and he also assured us that they are now in full control of their spirit and their own bodies. The pastor asked us first what happened to us, to understand what they are looking for and dealing with. My mother said about my scary dream. My sister said she always heard someone say "psst" to her, but there isn't anyone around. The pastor started by giving us all sheets of paper. It contained the whole process of what we were about to do. The pastor asked me if I would be okay to be there. He wanted me to be there as if I'm away. I'd be a target for the evil spirits, but he didn't want me to be scared. I said I was fine. We sat around our living room. I was sitting next to our door. It started with some series of prayers. The pastor led, and mostly we said amen. We sang church songs that has words that said blood of Christ. The songs and prayers probably lasted for almost an hour before it began. The pastor said we're going to look for the man with the big eyes first. The lady closed her eyes and wrinkled her forehead. She held out her right palm and said, "There is a man, a very large man outside of the mango tree." A Capri. A Capri is one of the creatures in old Filipino folklore. He is a giant that lives in a tree. He usually has a large tobacco and smokes it, according to the tale. As soon as she said it, I remember my playmate saying she saw very large legs dangling on her mango tree one night when she woke up and looked outside the window. The pastor asked him to come in and talk to us using the man's body. The man closed his eyes and crossed his arms. A few seconds later, the lady confirmed that the Capri's soul is inside the man's body. The pastor asked, "Why did you appear in the little girl's dream?" "Nothing, I was bored." The pastor asked, "So why are you living in the tree?" He apparently thought my dad looked handsome. "So you like men?" "Pastor, not all the time. We like watching them have a shower in their bathroom." This sent chills. So me being afraid wasn't just paranoia. "So you and your friends are perverts?" The Capri laughed and said, "We enjoy watching them every day. Through the painting, it's like another world." I don't remember what else they talked about. I just remember the pastor saying by the end of the ritual, he had gone, cast away from our house, never to return again. The lady began searching again. She said there is a lady with her neck grazed, but she was just passing through. She didn't mean any harm. She didn't live in our house. The next few days I found out that there was a girl who committed suicide by hanging herself 2 houses next to ours. The lady found a man with his hands red. He didn't live in our house, but he also liked to pass through. He was invited to come and talk to us. He did for a short time. He just said he sometimes comes in our house. I don't remember it now honestly, but then I found out that the girl that passed through didn't commit suicide. She was strangled by a man. I am not sure if it was her father, but it was family. The lady said there are a lot more evil spirits hiding on the pictures that are framed or hanging on the wall. It acts like a portal or some sort. It is their eyes to our world. The pastor said we wouldn't be able to get them, so we started the prayers again. I was sitting by the door and I looked outside. It was the weirdest thing ever. It was very windy, but the wind was swirling around the house. It was like we were in a tornado. I asked afterwards if my sisters or my parents saw that. Nobody did. We finished all the songs and prayers. The ritual ended and the pastor went around our whole house with all of us tailing him as he sprinkled holy water everywhere. He especially wiped some of the water on all the pictures hanging on the walls. There was a lot, My mother was studying photography. He also sprinkled a lot on our bathroom. After that, the pastor said our house is free of spirits. For the time being, they were cast away, but because there was a lot, they were only cast away around the area. So they are still roaming around, but they just couldn't get through our house. I was still scared and sceptical of our house, and honestly, there were more scary things that happened in our house years after this. We moved out when I was 16, and then they had bulldozed our house to build studio apartments. Also, the pastor had stopped casting spirits away because the evil spirits had taken revenge on his daughter. I don't remember what it was that happened to his daughter though. Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed. Here are some other videos you may enjoy. Thank you all for being here. I shall scare you later.